latest report on this. We had been keeping tabs on it just because I think that it's important to keep up with the internal stuff that's going on with a social media website such as Twitter is very important. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on this before I read what's happening and what the latest update is. Now, my position is, what I believe, I do think that there is a lot of smoke and mirrors on various forms of social media. It's hard to dictate the percentage of that is not organic, especially for something like Twitter. Twitter is a different kind of animal in comparison to other social media websites. And I do believe, though I can't pinpoint the percentage, that there is bot activity. There is non-organic activity to make stuff seem as if they are far more amplified than what it is that they are. Algorithm manipulation done both internally by the company itself, as well as people taking advantage of not just necessarily bots, but, farming in that regard. I do think that is happening to some degree. But to how prominent it is, it's hard to say, because we need to understand, or you need to understand, that, yeah, there are a lot of stupid human beings that they can barely pass for that, but there is someone that's actually operating behind that Twitter account that actually believes some of the dumb shit it is that they say. You have to account for that. So I don't want to overstate it, but I don't think it should be understated as well. But in the latest update in this, which is a big, this kind of flew under the radar yesterday, but it's important. Twitter's board is reportedly set to pull an about face offering Elon internal data on hundreds of millions of tweets as advised for the billionaire to complete his acquisition of the social media company. Now, this happens in light of, Elon believes that it is a rather significant percentage of users that are bots. Twitter is saying that that's not the case, but they haven't shown anything that shows that that is what it is, right? So they'll say that, well, no, you're wrong, Elon. We assure that it's really a low percentage of people that are like kind of bots or fake accounts and all of that. And however, they were refused basically to turn that information over, because they looked at it like, well, what happens if we give him that information? He backs out on the deal, and now he has some shit that could bury us. That's how they're looking at it, or whatever. But in a turn of events, Twitter now is set to release that information. Twitter is set to turn over information to Musk, capturing more than 500 million. By the way, I'm reading this from Yahoo Finance. 500 million tweets, the devices the post came from, and other information about the account holders. The Washington Post reported Wednesday, citing an unnamed person familiar with the matter. Such a move would help respond to Musk's repeated demands for more information about the composition of Twitter's user base and the extent of its problem with bots. Musk has challenged Twitter's claim that just 5% accounts are bots, calling the way this company calculates fake accounts very suspicious. So he's saying, again, we don't have that information. I don't think that your way of gathering that information to justify being 5% is legitimate. Now, you got to remember, this isn't just some rinky-dink random person that they're arguing with here, which is what makes this whole situation more unique. Elon Musk certainly is mindful and knowledgeable, not only in the algorithmic field, but in the technology kind of field and data collection. He's not oblivious, certainly, to that. And they're dealing with someone that has a specific expertise in that lane. So you can't just pull one over. Now, again, I don't know what's true or not. It's hard to say. But I do believe that there is at least a significant amount of people that are like bot accounts and fake accounts and people that operate based upon like some sort of smoke and mirrors. Such a move would help respond. Again, I read that. He said Musk also said that the Twitter deal would remain on hold until he received this information. We did cover that when that happened. Leading some on Wall Street to speculate he may be trying to renegotiate the deal from its original $44 billion price tag. Now, you have to remember, the $44 billion that he offered was an overpay anyway. But I think that was, again, that's corporate bullshit there at that point. It's public corporate bullshit. It's, okay, I want it, and I have to give you an offer you cannot refuse. And that's what he did, because they're bound to the shareholders. That $44 million was always the overpay, and he knew that. They knew that. Now he's trying to position himself in a way to say, well, I can kind of get y'all to go down at least a little bit based upon the new discovered information that is not necessarily known to the public, but needs to be known by someone that would be putting up $44 billion anyway. So that's a big deal. Twitter rose modestly, the stock, following the Post report on Wednesday. Twitter shares are falling about 15% since Musk's deal to buy Twitter for $54.20 per share was announced late in April. In a letter Monday, Twitter's general counsel, Musk legal team, asserted Musk believed Twitter was actively resisting and thwarting his information rights under the merger agreement by withholding the information. Musk waived his typical right as a buyer due to diligence when he first announced his deal with Twitter in April. This is a clear material breach of Twitter's obligation under the merger agreement, and Mr. Musk reserves all rights resulting therefrom, including his right to not consummate the transaction and his right to terminate the merger agreement. All it really boils down to is, like, we don't have the information that's needed to make a informative deal where both sides are knowledgeable on what they're getting themselves into. Like I say, more it's corporate public bullshit is what it is, right? And I don't know what the proof looks like, because you got to understand, well, they're making a claim, and I don't know if they're handing the data over because of the legal ramifications of it, or are they handling the data over because it basically highlights what they have been saying and what their argument has been. And their argument is that, well, no, it's actually not that significant of a population that are stemming from fake accounts and fake activity. So we'll see what happens, because, again, it's kind of flew under the radar, but they now have basically stated that, well, they're going to turn over some of that data, at least to some degree. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.